this is BioPhoenix here, and man, it has been such a long time since I've been on the camera, and that's mostly because I just haven't done a pickup video in like a few months from now. So yeah, I'm sure as you might be able to tell, the reason why I haven't been doing these videos is simply because not only have I not been like buying many like newer releases or just like games in general, but also like I've just been like really busy. We're not only busy with like real life stuff, but also busy working on other content and playing games on my free time, and you know how it goes. So yeah, so because of that, I just want to get this out of the way first, that I'm finally going to do another shout-out this episode, because I haven't done one in, like, a long time, so... Alright, so the first one that's going to get a shout-out today is going to be Vidi Mashup. So this is a channel that I've actually found out about, I want to say, like, 3 months ago, I want to say around there. So then I found out about him through Your Sworn Brother, who is another really good channel I can recommend. So yeah, he's a really small channel that mostly like covers like random assortments of video games and does different like categories. Like for an example, like recently, he was doing a video talking about like horror games that are on the PS4, which I thought was really good and interesting. And then there was also, like Sega games that were on the 360. That one was also really good too. I actually found out about a game on there that I was like, huh, that actually looks pretty good. I never expected it to be good, but no, it looks cool. So, he does stuff like that, and of course he also does pickup videos, and, they're the actual good pickup videos, the ones where they actually talk about the game, like, the most important part of, like, a pickup video in my opinion, so, that's always cool with me. So yeah, that's a good channel I can definitely recommend if that sounds right up your alley, and of course he does, like, a lot of different types of variety of different games, which is always awesome. Alright, so moving right along onto the games, and like I said at the beginning of the video, there's not a whole lot here, but that means I get to talk more about the games without this video being, like, forever to do, so it all works. So, anyways, so the first game here is a game I actually did a trade with. I did a trade with my good friend Floops900. I've done many of them before, and it probably won't be the last, so I gave him some Xbox games, and he said he was going to ordered this game for me, because weird thing was, you couldn't buy this game retail here in Canada, which is really weird. But anyways though, so the game happens to be Metal Wolf Chaos XD, the remastered of the weird FromSoft game that came out in Japan on the Xbox, like the original Xbox. So yeah, so this game is a game that I was always curious about ever since I heard about it. In case you don't know, it's a game where you're using the President of the United States riding around a mech, blowing up everything. It's pretty patriotic as fuck, and I love that. And of course, there's like many other games out there that are also pretty patriotic as fuck, like that Disaster game on the Wii that we didn't get over here. But that's another story, though. But yeah, so this game, I finally played it after all these years of being curious, and well, the game it's decent. It's not amazing, but I thought it was pretty decently fun. But here's the thing though, so when you first start up the game, it's pretty good, goofy, happy, fun time shit, and just blowing up everything, and getting a whole bunch of points, and using up like weapons, and like saving the hostages, all that fun stuff. And it kind of reminds me of like Earth Defense Force, which is also a goofy, happy, fun time game as well. So that's a good thing. But then, here's the bad thing. So, this game does not have a checkpoint system, and this game can get really hard. So if you, die at, the end of a mission, you have to do the entire mission from the beginning, and, oh my god, it sucks. It's a real shame, because I feel like if this game had a checkpoint system, I could probably do some of those really hard missions. It's just, it gets really exhausting when you have to, do the entire thing over and over again. So, it's not going to be for everyone. I do find, as much as I do love mechs, and I do love the concept of the game, and the game is just flat out hilarious with, bad voice acting, man, it's hilarious, but, yeah, the game can, like I said, it just gets exhausting when you have to, redo everything all over again, so, yeah. A little tricky to recommend, but if you do want a really challenging game that's gonna heighten your senses, then, yeah, go for it. So next up we have is Grip. So, if anyone ever tells me, get a fucking grip, well, I got the grip now, so, now what? Okay, all joking aside, so, okay, this is a racing game that is a spiritual successor to a PS1 game called Roll Cage. There are two of them, where, it's like about cars with, like, huge wheels, and whenever you, like, flip upside down, you kind of, like, do tricks, and you can still continue racing and all that. It was pretty fun. But this one, though, I definitely think, I do like it better than the original, mostly because the controls in this one are way more smooth and responsive, and also, the game like doesn't have any frame drops as far as I'm concerned. At least I never noticed any myself, so that's always all well and good. I do like the car customization. I think it's pretty nice. It's nothing like too crazy in depth though, but it was fun enough to just like change the color of different cars and add like decals to it. It's really all I want. And of course, also, I do like the fact that it has different game modes, and one of those game modes is actually like a car combat mode that plays similar to Twisted Metal, which is kind of amusing, but unfortunately it's not nearly as awesome as like any Twisted Metal game, but it's a nice little addition that they didn't need to add, but they did it anyways, because why not? But as much as I do like the game for its like arcadiness, because I really do think we do need more like arcade style racing games, because there's just not enough of them. And whenever like there is like some, they kind of try a little bit too hard to mix it like with arcade and sim, and it just doesn't work out as well. But anyways, as much as I do like this game can also be a little bit unforgiving later on, because like whenever there are some tracks where like if you like fall off the track and make a mistake, which is gonna happen unless you have like god powers where you can just play every single game and like beat it in like one try. Well, I'm not like that, so of course you are going to make mistakes in the game, and whenever your car responds, if you like fall off the track, then it sets you pretty far back, which is pretty annoying, and it can be a little bit tricky to catch right back up. So yeah, like I said, this is one of those games that you don't want to make too much mistakes over, because you might just have to retry the race and all that. So yeah, it gets a little bit tricky to master, but definitely a pretty fun game. And next up we have is Fire Pro Wrestling World. So I have not bought a wrestling game in a long time, and well, I wasn't expecting that the next wrestling game I'd buy would be a Fire Pro Wrestling game, because I thought the series was like long gone for a while. So yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Fire Pro Wrestling is like a wrestling series that has been around for a very long time. In fact, Suda51 actually did make a Fire Pro Wrestling game, and it had like a super dark and depressing story that's like really interesting, but sadly it doesn't have a fan translation, which is kind of weird because you think it would by now, but oh well. That's another discussion though, so that is definitely worth looking into if you're interested. But anyways, as for Fire Pro Wrestling World, so, it pretty much does play like the old ones, but, obviously, like, it has, like, a lot, like, of more newer characters, and, it has, like, a bunch of different game modes that you would expect for a wrestling game. In fact, the only wrestler that's in this game that I'm actually, like, familiar with before playing the game was Kenny Omega, who, fun fact, actually, one of his signature moves is actually called the One-Winged Angel, like Sephiroth. So I thought that was actually pretty interesting and kind of cool. But yeah, so this game is actually pretty fun. But I will say, like, if you played like any other wrestling game, like any of the WWE games, whether it be on like the SNES, the N64, the PS2, the current ones, like if you played any of those and then you try to play this game, like, you're going to be so confused because, like, it doesn't play anything like it at all. So, yeah, when I first played this, I fucking sucked. Like, I had, like, no idea what the hell I was doing. But eventually I did kind of try to learn it, and I did manage to win a few matches, and I was having fun. But, yeah, this game definitely does have a learning curve, so yeah, you definitely do have to get used to, like, the button layout and, like, how to do different things. It does take some time, but it is a lot of fun, and I do like the character creation. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that, too. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be a game I would have to play with, like, other people that I know who also play this, because I know one of my friends on my PS4 list does play this pretty often, and, well, if he plays it often, I would imagine he likes it, so yeah. So if anyone else ever played this game, just let me know what you think, because, like I said, this is a series I definitely do want to try and, like, be decent at. Alright, so as for the next game we got here, it's Crystar, which, ironically enough, this is also from Spike Chunsoft, which also did the publishing for the wrestling game that I just talked about, so that's kind of ironic. Also, another thing I forgot to mention is that this game actually does have a manual, and same thing with the wrestling game does too, so you know, that's kind of cool. You know, that's something you don't really see very often, but anyways, though, so this is an action RPG, and the story of the game is about, like, you're using this main character. Unfortunately, I forget her name because I haven't played this in a little while, but so you're using her, and you have her sister, and of course, you guys are stuck in this really weird world that looks very gothic-like, but also meets the Matrix. I know that makes, like, no damn sense, but pretty much, like, what I mean by gothic-like is that, like, it has, like, a lot of checkerboard patterns, and it also has, like, a lot of gothic, like, architectures and, like, the buildings and such. But then it also reminds me of the Matrix in that, like, it looks a little bit futuristic. It has, like, a lot of coding and all that. So, yeah, that's why I think of that. But anyways, though, I do like the art direction of, like, the setting and such. So, you two are stuck in this world. You get chased by a monster, and you also get followed around by this, like, crazy bitch, and well, apparently what happens is that you end up, like, accidentally killing your sister, and, you know, understandably so, your character, like, cries about it, and then, like, these, like, fairy characters will, like, go right up to you, and they tell you that there's a chance that you can actually save your sister before she reaches, like, the end of the purgatory or whatever. So, of course, you get superpowers, and you have to kill a bunch of monsters that used to be souls of the humans that died, so it's, well, man. Explaining the story, man, it's pretty crazy shit. So, knowing that, you know, I do like the story. I think it's kind of interesting. It has some pretty cool ideas, and also does kind of remind me of Madoka Magica, which, personally, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I do like that anime. So, yeah, I do kind of like the story, though. Even though it does have a few typical anime tropes, which I'm not the craziest fan of, though, but I can let it slide. But of course I can understand that it would annoy the crap out of some people and it wouldn't be for them, so I do totally get that. But anyways, though, as for the gameplay, well, it's an action RPG where you hack and slash a bunch of enemies, and you know, you do a bunch of combos. You can also string your combos into, like, different, like, magical skills and such and all that, and it's actually pretty decently fun. It controls good, which is important, but okay, so this game sounds pretty good so far, but sadly there is one pretty big issue, in my opinion, is that this game has pretty bad level design. And what I mean by that is that the game is, like, basically a huge-ass hallway, and then after, when you're done with a bunch of huge-ass hallways, it's, like, big open area, then hallways, and an open area, and hallways, and, you know, it just gets, like, really repetitive. In fact, I'm pretty sure they actually recycled a lot of the same ones over and over, which also gets, like, tiring, and, you know, like, so because of that, like, I wouldn't recommend, like, playing the game for hours and hours on end, because not only would it get boring after a while from going through those hallways, but also, I'm pretty sure if you looked at it long enough, you probably might get tunnel vision. So, yeah, like I said, like, that's why I kind of took a break from the game, is because I was like, man, like, these levels, they're not good. As much as I love the way they look, they're not designed, like, the way I was kind of hoping. So that was a little disappointing, but otherwise, though, it was actually a pretty decent game. But like I said, though, if this does sound interesting to you, I would say wait for a price drop. We'll get it on sale or something. Because, yeah, I did like what was going on here, and maybe one day I might have to actually finish it one day. I think I stopped at, like, the halfway point because I was wanting to play something else. But, yeah, it wasn't bad. And last but not least, we have the final game, and, well, I'm sure you know what it is. It's kind of in the thumbnail, but as you know, it's a series that I'm a pretty big fan of, and it was a game I was been very hyped up about for this year, and that happens to be the Trails of Cold Steel Collector's Edition. So, yeah, this is the box that it comes in. It looks really cool. In fact, it actually is supposed to represent the keep in the game, which is basically, if you're familiar with, like, the other game, it's pretty much like it's the place where you train and all that. So, okay. So we get the lid off here. I'm gonna do a little unboxing here. Hopefully this won't take too long. But yeah, it has like a very suction cup feel to it when you take off the lid. It's kind of funny. So you get this steel case, which looks really cool. Really like that a lot. I might actually use this eventually, because the other Trails games on PS4 also have steel cases. And of course you got the full picture here, which looks great. And then we got the soundtrack, which, you know, it's a soundtrack, and as you know, the music in these games are fantastic, and I love it. And of course, this one does not disappoint. So yeah, even if you're not a fan of RPGs, just listen to this game's soundtrack. You'll get what you want. And of course, we got some postcards of places that you visit from the game, which is really cool. But I would show you them all, but the thing is, this plastic casing is such a fucking nuisance to like put them back in. Like, oh my god, I struggled. The struggle was real by like, trying to put it back in. So yeah, I'd probably spend like an entire hour just fucking around with that. And also, oh shit, fucking around with also trying to put it back in here is also a nuisance too. And then we got the art book, which looks really awesome. It's like hardcover, and I really like the fact it has like the silver engraving stuff on it. I think it looks really cool. I haven't even looked at like the entire thing because it clearly tells you right here that there are spoilers in here. So yeah, I didn't look through the whole thing. I just looked through like the first few pages and was like, okay, this is pretty cool stuff. But once I beat the game, which might take a while, then after that, I'll look through the whole thing without a worry. And finally, it came with a plushie of Mishi, and okay, hopefully this won't be a struggle. Okay, no, it worked out fine. So yeah, Mishi is the mascot of the series kind of thing. In fact, oh yeah, he also appeared in Ys 8 as well, which I thought was amusing. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Like, I don't really collect plushie stuff, but I do have a couple games that did come with plushies, so I always thought, you know, it's kind of neat just to have them. I might hang them up in my room somewhere, whenever that all gets sorted out. But yeah, what can I say about the game, though? Well, there's a lot, but as you know, I really am satisfied with this game. I'm at Chapter 3, and I freaking love it. The story is as great as ever. I get that brain buzz that I remember feeling when I was, like, you know, playing 2, when I was, like, trying to revisit everything. It just felt all good stuff. Like, it felt really good just to finally continue this series after so long of, like, waiting for, like, them trying to localize it over here. And, yeah, by the way, the localization for this game was done by a different company. It was done by NIS, which I know a lot of people are not a fan of them, and I can understand why. They have done some pretty weird mistakes, but I think they did do a pretty good job with this game. I mean, I didn't notice any grammatical errors, so, I mean, that's good. And even so, I mean, you know, it's just grammar errors. Like, it's not gonna, like, destroy the game. It's not like, oh my god, like, broken game, it sucks, the end. But anyways, though, no, like, I really do love this game. Of course, I would not recommend playing 3 right away. I'd say just play 1 and 2. They're easily available on PS4 and Steam, and, I don't know, you know, it would be kind of cool if they did get Switch releases, though, but, I don't know, I think it might be a little bit too late for that, though, but, I don't know, maybe for, like, the next Nintendo console, they'll have, like, a collection of, like, all of them or something. Wouldn't that be interesting? But, anyways, though, yeah, like, I freaking love this game, and, of course, if you love the series, too, then, well, I definitely would recommend giving this one a try whenever you're ready up for it, because, they're really freaking long, but, man, the characterization is so great, and the music's great, and I just really love everything about it, really. And that sums up all the stuff I got from the last few months that I've done a video. Not a whole lot, but of course that's because I've been playing a lot of backlog stuff, which is never a bad thing because, you know, it's not like I'm ever going to be running out of games to play. So, with that said, you know, if you've played any of these games, or if any of these games sound like something you'd be interested in, let me know. Let's discuss about it, have a good time, and of course, I'll see you all later, and thanks for watching and commenting, and have yourselves a great day.